FM on the morning drive. 103.5 Ebona DSN.
Good morning and welcome to Abona, the 103.5 FM. Today, the 27th day of October 2023. Today is Friday. And the time is 2 minutes past the hour of 7. It is time for newspaper headlines on Abona, the 103.5 FM. This morning, we're going to take you through the news making the headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. We're going to take you through the news making the headlines on Nigerian newspapers. But before we do that, let's go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines. Please stay with us.
Do you know that you have the right to quality broadcasting? The National Broadcasting Commission says any person, group of persons, or organization aggrieved by the content of a broadcast or the conduct of a broadcast station may lodge a complaint to the station and all right to the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, number 20, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Asokoro, Abuja, or send a mail via info@nbc.gov.ng. Please ensure that your complaint includes name of the broadcast station, title of the program, date and time of broadcast, and essence of the complaint. Also, remember to include your name, address, telephone number, email, and append your signature. Note that a complaint must reach the NBC within 14 days of the queried broadcast. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
You're welcome back to newspaper headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. This morning, we are going to take you through the news making the headlines on The Guardian newspaper, Leadership newspaper, Punch newspaper, Vanguard, Daily Post, Sun, This Day, The Nation, and if time permits, we're also going to take a look at the Nigerian Tribune. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080-96661035. You can equally join us on Facebook as we are live at Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Drop your comment on the comment section of the live video. I am Martin. Let's get started with the Guardian newspaper this morning. Tinubu laughs last as Supreme Court affirms victory. Awards for health reporters unveiled. Exceller achieves 42.75% reduction in direct CO2 emission. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Axela achieves 42.75% reduction in direct CO2 emissions. Implement 1976 declaration on Alafin selection. Families tell Makinde. Kogi Guba poll. Ex-Kogi lawmakers throw weight behind APC's Ododo. Deputy apologizes to Akeredolu as governor denies hand in travail. Senate confirms Jigawa ex-Attorney General Aliyu as ICPC chairman. Death penalty. Groups prepare Nigerian lawyers for pro bono legal services. New VONDG to prioritize staff welfare. Surveyors advocate monitoring of buildings or bridges for structural defects. Tour operators tax NAHCON's new boss on professionalism. Others, federal government unveils a strategy to employ 3 million in digital tech industry. Troops kill 73 terrorists, arrest 182 in 1 week. NAPE summit to deliberate on future of petroleum industry. VC identifies root of Japa syndrome. Anambra under Obiano recorded lowest domestic debt among states, says Budge IT. Israel-Hamas war. We await Nigerians' political might, says Palestinian envoy. PCN inducts 116 Obafemi Awolowo University graduates. MOSOP 6 stiffer penalties for oil spills. Mobilize resources to end cultism. PCRC tells Abiodun, don't worry to Dubai. Worry Monarch charges Chevron. Stakeholders seek U.S. Congress nod for AGOA's extension ahead of forum. PIA, Senate investigates non-implementation, exit of IOCs. Court quashes proscription of IPOB as terrorist group. APC chieftain Mosu urges Atiku Obi to join Tinubu in nation building. Sanwo-Olu applauds Supreme Court on Tinubu, congratulates President. Rights group urges Atiku Obi to rally behind Tinubu after Supreme Court verdict. 12 million Nigerians overweight due to SSB consumption and poor diet, says CAPPA chief. Dr. Ikere Basi celebrates the Honorable Minister for Humanitarian Affairs on her birthday. Supreme Court ruling. Sanctity of Tinubu's victory affirmed, says Alake. Mba constitutes investigative committee on Enugu College of Education Technical. NAFDAC destroys fake expired goods worth 16 billion naira in Ogun. INEC accredits 1,255 journalists for Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi elections. More goodies on the way for Kanu people, says Yusuf. FRSC cautions drivers against speeding, overloading. Tinubu's victory. Ganduje lost Supreme Court, urges Atiku Obi to wait till 2031, pursue presidential aspiration. Tinubu victory. Ganduje lost Supreme Court, urges Atiku Obi to wait till 2031 to pursue presidential aspiration. Kogi SDP Guba candidate Ajaka lost Tinubu on victory at Supreme Court. It's healing time. Onu hails Tinubu's Supreme Court victory. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Senate confirms Musa Aliyu as ICPC chairman. Buhari hails Supreme Court verdict affirming Tinubu's election. Supreme Court judgment has put a stop to shenanigans. Tinubu. November 11 poll. Forum of former Kogi House of Assembly members declares support for APC. Ododo. Supreme Court verdict. Defion congratulates Tinubu, calls for unity. Supreme Court affirmed Tinubu's election, dismisses appeal by Atiku Peter Obi. 25% votes. Supreme Court opposed tribunal, says FCT treated as 37th state. Average price of 5 kg cooking gas stood at 4,189.96 naira in September. MBS. Failure to collect results on IREV cannot nullify Tinubu's election. Supreme Court. Supreme Court. We've taken this. LASMA impounds over 100 vehicles for illegal parking on bridges. Terrorism. Troops arrest 2 ammunition suppliers, recover weapons, 16 motorcycles in Kaduna. Mbright. Jigawa government partner to boost routine immunization in local government areas. Ex-deputy governors urge establishment of constitutional courts for speedy settlement of electoral cases. Governor Bagu. Dangles 3.5 billion naira to 1,000 youths to go back to farming. DSS confirms release of former EFCC boss. Court adjourns multi-billion naira debt dispute to December 11th. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Senate committee assures support for army to curb insecurity. Rights groups fault appointment of Shira as Auditor General. Senate alters CBN Act to bar governor, deputies from politics. And that's the much we can take from the Guardian newspaper this morning. And from the Guardian newspaper, we'll flip over to the Leadership newspaper. Supreme Court verdict. Support Tinubu to move Nigeria forward. Group urges Atiku Obi. Gaza war may cause global famine. Varsity Dawn warns. Uni Ilorin inducts 29 new veterinary doctors. Senate investigates poor implementation of PIA. TIV youths Lord Tinubu over appointment of Kingsmen. Abbas urges Atiku Obi to support Tinubu for Nigeria's progress. University of Abuja promotes 23 to professorial rank. University of Abuja promotes 23 to professorial rank. Forum of former Kogi Assembly members endorses Udodo. Federal government distributes grinding machines to Benue yam farmers. NEDC board consults stakeholders to perform better. Reps move to curtail high airfares. UHC Academy urges support for healthcare funding. Churches tax on climate change. We won't negotiate with bandits. Castana government insists. We won't negotiate with bandits. Castana government insists. Police affirms minister mourns Fika. Police Affairs Minister Mons Fika. NIA harps on space creation to enhance quality of life in cities. Malnutrition. USAID donates 17,500 cartons of RUTF to Bauchi. Still on the stories making the headlines on the leadership newspaper this morning. Niger blocks leakage in 1.2 billion naira daily turnover of gold market. Criminals jittery over your appointment. Christian Association of Nigeria tells Wike. Reps seek better deal for police officers. Supreme Court verdict seals Tinubu's victory. Governor Abiodun Group 2 Gumi FCT ministerial slot not solely for Northerners. Niger gets 3,592 seats for 2024 Hajj. Niger gets 3,592 seats for 2024 Hajj. Nigeria, Brazil collaborate to boost food security. Atiku Obi only enriched Nigeria's jurisprudence. Omo Agege. INEC urges media to resist fake news, misinformation. Oyo measures to cave in under acquisition plans. Dangote's commitment to sustainable environment irrevocable. Polaris Bank partners evolve charity. Supports girl child education. KOICA inaugurates new alumni. Charges on strengthening economic cooperation. Nigeria emerging best investment hub for agri-businesses. Shetima. Transcorp Hotels post 62% growth in pre-tax profit. FAAN conducts bomb threat simulation exercise at Lagos Airport. Nigeria commits to global maritime port rating. And that's the much we can take from the leadership newspaper this morning. And from the leadership newspaper, we'll flip over to the Vanguard newspaper. Ritual 400 level Uniport student in police net for killing ex-lover. Supreme Court affirms Tinubu's election, dismisses Atiku, Obi's appeals. Gumi extremism shames decency. 7 issues Supreme Court resolved in Tinubu's favor. Court cost of governance. Ashimolowo, tax executive, National Assembly. Skill gap. Lagos promoting local content in built sector. Sanwo-Olu. SMEs have potential to tackle unemployment. Ex-Ecobank boss. Reps to investigate hike in flight fares. Poor service delivery in aviation sector. Abiodun plans 10,000 affordable houses. Aspamada. ASPAMDA traders beg Sanwo-Olu over short market. Individualism, greed, ethnic sentiments hampering Nigeria's progress. Amechi. Uzodinma congratulates Tinubu on triumph as Supreme Court. Bayelsa Labour Party leaders reaffirm Eradiri as parties only. Ensure transparency in Imo, Kogi, Bayelsa elections. Human Rights Writers Association urges INEC. Labour Party demands sack probe of Tinubu's minister. And that's the mush we can take from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And from the Vanguard newspaper, we'll flip over to the Punch newspaper. Hadiza Osman's book full of lies against me. Amechi. Inspector General decorates 12 AIGs, 19 Commissioner of Police. Military foils 1.2 billion naira crude theft to end terror attacks. Senate confirms Aliyu as ICPC chair. Your claim, Tinubu will hound opposition satanic. APC tells Abure. Your claim, Tinubu will hound opposition satanic. APC tells Abure. 24 government police education colleges converted to varsities. Sean Vices, ASJEV tells youth. Spending, cleric tells politicians. Alafin, stop Makinde from sacking us or your kingmakers, beg court. Governors, Akpabio, Speaker, others hail Tinubu's Supreme Court victory. Sean Vices, okay, we've taken this. Prison congestion. Magistrates bar from granting police remand orders. Sanwo-Olu unveils modern workspace in Ikoyi. Afenifere hails Tinubu. Ohaneze urges Atiku Obi to embrace president. Niger launches gold market, eyes 1.2 billion naira daily income. Israel-Palestine crisis. Don't urge tolerance, peaceful coexistence. IPPIS workers in 109 ministries, department agencies may forfeit October salary. Lagos State Waste Management Authority partners firm on waste to energy initiative. Register for health insurance. Government urges residents. LASMA impounds 100 vehicles over illegal parking. Court lifts IPOB ban. Awards Kano 8 billion naira. Akeredolu rebuffs Ayedatiwa's apology. Insists on assembly probe. Navy arrests 8 suspected crude oil thieves with 300 drums. Nigeria never vied for UNHRC seat. Minister. Supreme Court. Tinubu's victory, well deserved. PAM. President eulogizes Kafaru Tinubu on 20th death anniversary. Supreme Court judgment, stop stampeding judiciary. Bamidele warns politicians. Academic technologists reject federal government's conditional payment of withheld salaries. Delta frozen food retailers protest price hike. Inspector General, we've taken this. Akpabio congratulates Tinubu on Supreme Court judgment. Ganduje hails Supreme Court judgment on Tinubu. Man wanted for U.S. judge's murder found dead. That's the much we can take from the Punch newspaper this morning. And from the Punch newspaper, we'll flip over to Daily Post newspaper. They are all ethnic leaders. Amechi knocks Nigerian politicians. 2023 talent hunt through hackathon. 3 startups receive 10 million naira each from NCC. 2023 Talent Hunt True Hackathon. 3 startups received 10 million naira each from NCC. Too many lies. Amechi slams ex-MPA boss Hadiza Osman makes fresh claims. Abducted Delta community leader. 3 others escaped from kidnappers' den. Reps probe police over loss of firearms by personnel. Stakeholders identify major challenges on contraceptive services in Jigawa. Bill to establish Technology Institute in Zamfara passes second reading in House Reps. Police decorates newly promoted officers in Edo. Oyabanji appoints technical advisors, SSAs, DGS, others. Ex-Zamfara government officials clear air on alleged missing 70 billion naira. NAFDAC destroys expired goods worth 16 billion naira in Ogun. Palliative. Federal government provides rice, maize to FCT Muslims. And that's the much we can take from the Daily Post newspaper this morning. And from the Daily Post newspaper, we'll flip over to the Nation newspaper. BATNF reaffirms commitment to food security. Alumni to inaugurate 10 million naira project. SGF Speaker, Governors, Wike visits President, hail verdict at Villa. Verdict ends 8-month legal battle, says Buhari. Tinubu's many sweet victories. AAT begs Tinubu for unconditional release of withheld salaries, capacity training for women, youth as Wakana launches CSR. Nigeria, Namibia, partner on Pan-African film production. Nigeria, Namibia, partner on Pan-African film production. Inspector General of Police Ebotokun decorates 12 AIGs, 19 CPs. Supreme Court judgment unassailable, says legal giants. Still on the stories making the headlines on the Nation newspaper this morning. Financial parliamentary workers to go on strike. Judges key to stable polity, says CJN. States to get more funding for health care, says PIT. Police partner United Nations on CRU. Why corruption is endemic in civil service. Abiodun declares state of emergency on flooded Icheri community. Oba of Benin to indigenes, defend your heritage. Ikiti government urges council chairman on community-driven projects. Niger Delta Development Commission vows to support Niger Delta youths. Red Cross confirms release of 2 from Gaza. That's the much we can take from the Nation newspaper this morning. You are tuned to Abona at the 103.5 FM, and this is Newspaper Headlines. We will now go for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on the stories making the headlines on the Sun newspaper. Please stay with us.
My correct person, for how long you don't find that estate when go meet your expectation for style and luxury? Estate where they better location be say now buy and build for that part of town where you don't desire to get your land since. Oh yeah, look no more, because Nadistel Concept Limited get exactly what you dey look for. Over the years, we don't take our place as the leading name for this real estate business. We get different estates where you fit choose from. Over the years, we don't take our place as the leading name for this real estate business. We get different estates where you fit choose from. No matter your taste or the size of your pocket, some of our correct estates when they inside the Asaba Capital Territory, now Florida Garden Estate, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and Paris Garden Estate, phase 1. All these estates get C of O and the correct location for Iguzo. Just 12 minutes from Asaba International Airport, 7 minutes from Coca Flyover, and only 3 minutes from Nigeria Immigration Office. They very close to Admiralty University of Nigeria, Chinese Construction Company, Nigerian Army 63 Brigade, and the Sabawari Express Road. Tell me, say you no like this kind of environment. Security tight because better fence dey around all the estates with solid gates, good road network with street light everywhere. All the estates with solid gates, good road network with street light everywhere. Another thing when you go enjoy inside this estate be say light and water go dey 247. The environment clean, sweet, come soft, you sef go like am. One plot of land 50 by 100 when be 464 square meters for inside Florida Garden Estate phase 2 na only 1 million naira. Florida Garden Estate phase 3 na just 900,000 naira, and Paris Garden Estate phase 1 na only 2 million naira. Remember, say this estate get C of O. You see, I'm saying land dey for you, no matter your budget. Call us now, make you choose the one when fit you. Call 080 60 80 94 70 or 070 45 84 85 78. Make I let you know, say better correct estate still dey for the Asaba Benin Expressway, because Nadistel Concept Limited don launch the Vegas Garden Estate Otulu off Asaba Benin Expressway. This Vegas Garden Estate dey near Asaba Housing Estate, 20 minutes from Coca Flyover, 10 minutes from Asaba International Airport, and 3 minutes from which tech group of companies. And the estate no far from the express road. Amenities where you go enjoy inside the Vegas Garden Estate na perimeter fencing with better gates, good road network with pavement and street lights. Constant light go dey plus clean water for every household. You know, and there, recreational center dey for you to relax and jollificate. You go enjoy all this if you take advantage of our special promo price when be 500,000 naira for one plot of land when be 50 by 100. Nadistel Concept Limited, they advise you say make you buy land for area when they don't settle with both government and community so that you go get rest of mind for your own land. You get the point now. No forget, say we get land for different locations inside the capital city. Plot of land 50 by 100 when be 464 square meters or inside Florida Garden Estate phase 2 Iguzo na only 1 million naira. Florida Garden Estate phase 3 Iguzo na only 900,000 naira. Paris Garden Estate phase 1 Iguzo na 2 million naira, and Vegas Garden Estate Otulu na only 500,000 naira. Special promo price. All our estates come with deed of assignment, registered survey plan, and government approved extension. We get better installment payment plan where you fit dey pay small and na instant allocation once you pay for any of the estates. Remember, say Florida Garden Estate phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and Paris Garden Estate get C of O. Or you unlock your potential now. Make yourself become landlord today with small money when you go tear your pocket at all. Visit our office for inside CCL Petrol Filling Station, Kilometer 3, Asaba Benin Expressway, Asaba, Delta State. Call 080 60 80 94 70 or 070 45 84 85 78. Follow who no road. Nadistel Concept Limited say everybody must be landlord.
How best can we talk about the challenges we are having on our streets, our community, our society in general? Street report. If we do not address these challenges on Ebonade FM, who will? As the happenings around us get as complicated as they can be.
Our government, whatever.
Street report is here to make sense of it all. Street report is causing social change across your streets. In your community, Street report is here with hardcore journalism to get to the roots of our problem. Why don't you join me, Martin Ifan KCS number the first every Friday, 4:30 p.m. on Ebonade 103.5 FM as Street Reports unfolds in your face. On Emas Ebonade corner 24/7, 24/7.
You're welcome back to Newspaper Headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Remember that you can become part of the conversation by sending your reactions via SMS or WhatsApp messages on 080-96661035. You can equally join us on Facebook as we are live at Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Drop your comment on the comment section of the live video. We are on to the Sun newspaper. Israel ground forces push into Gaza, hit Hamas cells. Seventh-day Adventist global leader Wilson visits Akwa Ibom. Governor calls for freedom of conscience. USAID trains Ebonyi State ESCO members on budgeting, good governance. Experts suggest local solutions to snags in Africa's oil gas industry. Supreme Court rejects Atiku's request to tender Tinubu's CSU academic records. Supreme Court rejects Atiku's request to tender Tinubu's CSU academic records. Federal government denounces opening of portal for renewal hope job creation. 50 transformers vandalized every day in just disco coverage areas, JED. Federal government urged to implement Maputo Protocol for women's political involvement. Nasarawa United ex-players demand government intervention in unsettled March bonuses disbursement. Rivers Group cautions against terminating Tampolo's pipeline surveillance contract. Forest OPM suspends overseas scholarship. Breaking. Still on the news, making the headlines on the Sun newspaper this morning. Gunmen kidnaps former NUJ chairman in Plateau, demands 35 million naira. Breaking. Presidential polls. Tight security as Supreme Court delivers judgment in Atiku Obi's appeals. Abu Rasak promises monetary rewards for states with more women in governance. INEC delisting silver premature, preemptive APC. Pandef to Tinubu, National Assembly revisit 2014 National Confab report. Gaza families wear ID bracelets to avoid burial in mass graves. Lawa demands fair business climate in Niger. Optiva Capital Partners celebrates diversity in the workplace with rep another tribe. And that's the much we can take from the Sun newspaper this morning. And from the Sun newspaper, we'll flip over to this day newspaper. Federal government moves to securitize NLNG dividends for $7 billion cash. Otedola doles out 750 million naira to 715 Augustine University students. Dr. Betta Edu, creating profound impact in the humanitarian world. Businesses urged to integrate ESG goals for sustainable development. Supreme Court, Tinubu's election as president is hereby affirmed. Tinubu to aides. After Supreme Court victory, your jobs are secured. Federal government with partly $5 billion annual earnings. Nigeria still far from achieving full gas potential. House to probe performance of loans disbursed by CBN for metering. NUPRC explains workings of new host communities reporting platform, says some interest fighting back. Era of payments for unawarded contracts over, AGF declares. Okonjo-Iweala, we want to demonstrate trade is part of solution to climate crisis. Businesses urged to integrate ESG goals for sustainable development. Naira devaluation. Airline operators fret over imminent extinction of domestic airlines. Uganda Airlines begins direct flights to Nigeria. That's the much we can take from this day newspaper this morning. And with that, from this day newspaper this morning, that will mark the conclusion of all that we have for you on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. We will now flip over to our WhatsApp portal to bring you reactions. And this morning, we got one. This one is coming from St. Anya Furugo, reporting he's reaching us from Aguleri. And he says, are you surprised about the ruling at Supreme Court? And he says, I am not surprised because I already know that the outcome before the court. I rest my case. He says, forged certificate is allowed henceforth. My apologies. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Anya Furugo from Aguleri. Now we got a message from Ogugwa Kenneth Ukuchuku, and he's joining us from Umuobanam. And he says, Supreme Court judgment is laughable. Corruption in high climax. No redeem is solving Nigeria. Okay, no remedy is solving Nigeria's corruption. Nigeria is in comatose situation. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message that says, I am not surprised that the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Tinubu. Our judiciary is not independent. He who pays the piper dictates the stone. From Timan, he came from Ifite. Nando, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have one. This one is coming from Engineer Ebuka Joshua Dawson from 33, and he says the Supreme Court judgment on Jagaban is a clear indication that justice is hard to get in our country. There is no rule of law, and he says the 400 level students boy who killed ex-lover should face the book of law. This should be a great lesson to others. Never go back to your vomit; it can kill. And then he says kudos to federal government as they provide foodstuff to FCT Muslims. They should equally extend the kind gestures to us too. Okay, thank you so much. It's coming from Engineer Ebuka Joshua Dawson from 33. Now we have this message. It's coming from Comrade Ibudu from Abagana. And he says, I said it before, it has never happened that a candidate claims the Nigerian presidential seat in the court. Once they sit on that seat, they have extraordinary powers as per Nigeria. They control the judiciary like it's not okay. And then he says, sometimes I do wonder why Nigeria has become a laughing stock, even as they knew they have everything it takes for development. If I should explain what I have gone through to survive in Nigeria, you would not believe tears flow around my cheek while discussing about this. May God help us. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message coming from Maloto Patrick from Monteje, and he says Tinubu laughs last. Of course, Tinubu laughs as a result of the judgment of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which affirms Tinubu's election as the president of Nigeria. Yes, Supreme Court is the final arbiter. There is nothing else. Anybody who is not satisfied can do other than to accept the judgment in good faith. The judgment of Supreme Court is a bitter pill every Nigerian must swallow, but it must be on record that democracy has been murdered in Nigeria by the executive arm of the government. Everybody is now hailing and congratulating Tinubu. There is no problem. But one thing I know is that judgment day must come when everybody must stand before his or her creator to give account of his or her stewardship again. Since 25% in Abuja does not matter again. Congratulations to the indigenous people of Abuja, because Abuja will now be given all the status of a state, such as governor, three senators, and members of the House of Representatives. Said this is coming from Waloto Patrick from Integer. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message coming from the boss from Okozo, and he says Israeli Gaza war is deepening. I pray it will not affect the world. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Jomak from Ukwele Zunaka GRA says, where our securities when those 50 transformers got vandalized in Jos? Federal government should strongly tighten up our security and create more community state police. Supreme Court judgment on Tinubu Obi article indicates that absolute power corrupts absolutely. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have this message. It's coming from Engineer Ebuka Mabufo from Amawa Obunike, and he says what we saw from the Supreme Court yesterday is what we know that can offer nothing good from Nigeria. And then he says, may God continue to guide Israel on the war on Gaza. Now we have this message coming from Chike Obata from Webinetiti of Kozo, and he says Tinubu laughed last. What happened yesterday in Supreme Court and what Gumi said made me to know that Nigeria is in Kaba, that that's what will happen in this country called Nigeria. And it says that's why they didn't want any other person to overtake them if you are not there. In fact, our judiciary has disappointed so many Nigerians, and he says, which Ohaneze is saying that. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, we have this message that says, it's coming from Obiora from Okozo, and it says Supreme Court declared Tinubu as the winner of the 2023 presidential election. It's now clear to the whole world that Nigeria is corrupt, from president to presidency and ministers, and from governors to House of Assembly, from senators to House of Representatives, from Supreme Court, Appeal Court, High Court. And it says from army to police, DSS, from service to schools, from Christians to other religious, from elders to youths, now affecting our children. It's better to say the truth, because to be silenced is evil. Time is coming when God will arise and evil people will be ashamed. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message coming from Blizzman from Umunachi, and he says, let federal government cut down the cost of governance. Hope we will come out of this. Happy weekend to all. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, we have this message that says, I implore the federal government to restore tight security in the southeast by releasing Mazen Nandekano as the court has acquitted him. Justice for MNK. And this one, it's coming from famous Christian from Ipite village, Agolozibo. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, we have a message from Valentine Edene from Upo, and it says Nigerian arm of government are executive, APC, and legislative. No more judiciary. They only have the degree to defend themselves when they commit evil. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message that says, this one is coming from Amechi and from and it says, let our leaders lead us well. Our judiciary is not doing to Nigerians. God is watching. Okay, thank you so much. Now we have this one. It's still coming from famous Christian from Ifte village. And he says, now that the legal battle has ended in Supreme Court and the victory is on the side of Tinubu, I will admonish him to channel his energy on restructuring Nigeria. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message from Ndubisi Okapo from Umweze, Umunachi, and he says, the selected politicians that rejoice on the injustice in Nigeria must take cognizance of anarchy and chaos they are propelling Nigeria into. When rain falls, it doesn't fall on one person. Supreme Court judgment is not of Nigeria, but a call for all well-meaning Nigerians to strategize for better Nigeria. Ndubisi Okafor from Umweze, Umunachi, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We will now flip over to our SMS portal to bring you more reactions. From our SMS portal this morning, we got this message coming from KCG from Enugu, and it says from Enugu Ngwo, and it says Supreme Court verdict, Igbos and Peter Obi, and it says, okay, removal of IPOB's prescription is a victory to Elohim. Nnamdi Kanu is a true great prophet. Henceforth, anybody who calls IPOB terrorists will be litigated. Glory be to Chukwu Okike Abiama. He said, this is coming from KCG Enugu Ngwo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, we have, still on our SMS portal this morning, we have a message coming from Lebuni Sokoye from Atala, Enugu Agede. And he says, the Supreme Court judgment is a rape of democracy. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message coming from John Ume from Okozo, and he says, Bayo Onanuga have already leaked the secret of what will be the outcome of the Supreme Court verdict a day before the judgment. Tinubu have actually proved to Nigerians that this is his time, forgetting that the book of Proverbs 20 verse 17 says that bread gained by deceit. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message. This one is coming from Ichie Mazi Izuogu from Awada, and he says, very disappointed with Nigerian judiciary. What a country called Nigeria. Difficult to be civilized. May God rescue the poor Nigerians. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Mazi Izuogu. We have a message from Honorable Onyedeka Osakwe, and he is saying, INEC and Supreme Court is like husband and wife. When it comes to deceit, the manner in which things is going in Nigeria makes one to wonder if this nation is heading to comatose. Those congratulating Tinubu for victory is importing hunger, impunity, and rascality to the troops claiming to neutralize bandits are giving us monkey meat in the darkness, as every nook and cranny has been taken over by hoodlums and the kidnappers, and kidnapping has become a living lucrative business. We need colonial masters again in this nation, as we are still crawling. The INEC is one of the biggest calamity. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message that says we have been practicing indirect democracy from Abinishu, and it says God is still God. Adeze Okenku, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have a message that says the consequences of, okay, he just said it, consequences, and I think network messed with your message and we can't see all of it. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message that says the judgment yesterday was prepared over a year ago, that is called Kappa judgment, and it says all is seen, that Nigeria is in Chambo. Poli Mwizu from Onitsha, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll now flip over to our Facebook portal to bring you more reactions. And on our Facebook portal this morning, we have a message from T-Man Nando Chukwukedo, and it says Tinubu must be happy, no doubt about that. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message from Ozo Francis Nnamani on our Facebook portal this morning from Amakunse in Enugu State, and it says the question of IPOB product as terrorist group by the Court of Competent Jurisdiction is a welcome development and of course a victory for democracy. Let Kanu be released unconditionally for the sake of our democracy, peace, and tranquility to the Southeast Zone. May God help us. Chukwuma Onyoka. And he says, Chukwuma Onyoka from Nimo. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Dr. Mrs. Mma Olebara from Owerri, and she says, it is disheartening and a theme of shame that in this time and age, people still believe that magical potion prepared with human parts can enhance their financial fortunes. We are now living in a world where morality has fallen to its lowest ebb. The increasing wave of racial killings boils down to desperation and craze for wealth. Sad that children sent to school have derailed. Parents should rise up to the responsibilities of giving real training to their children. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now we have a message coming from Tochukwu Ekwuoba, and it says, fourth certificate is, okay, we've gotten this from you before. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Uchechukwu Nnadozwe. Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. On our WhatsApp portal this morning, we have this message coming from the boss from Okuzu, and he says, "I hope it's not a scamming. It's not scam, as IPOB is of okay the lifting of the ban on IPOB." And he says, "I also want to know about 80 billion naira for Nnamdi Kanu if it is real." Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, we flip over to our SMS portal. Okay, with that, this is the spot where we call it a day on this particular edition of Newspaper Headlines on Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Remember, it comes your way weekdays in the morning. Once is 7 o'clock, so keep a date. We are going to do this again on Monday. But don't touch the dial of Ebona, the 103.5 FM. Once it's 8:20, we'll be back with Birthday Splash. Until we meet again, I am Martin. Have a wonderful morning.
How best can we talk about the challenges we are having on our streets? About the challenges we are having on our streets, our community, our society in general. Street report. If we do not address these challenges on Ebona FM, who will? As the happenings around us get as complicated as they can be. Government. Street report is here to make sense of it all. Street report is causing social change across your streets. In your community. Street report is here with hardcore journalism to get to the roots of our problem. Why don't you join me, Martin SR number the first every Friday, 4:30 p.m. on Apple FM as Street Reports on Foods in your face. On the corner 24. The National Broadcasting Commission welcomes broadcasters, content creators, tech experts, exhibitors, and investors from Nigeria and all over to the 13th edition of Africast. Africast 2023 brings you 3 days of world-class exposition, innovation, and technology advancement, featuring an exceptional lineup of industry leaders that will inspire and guide you with their insight and expertise. Theme, broadcast content, synergy, finance, and market. Date, Tuesday the 24th to Thursday the 26th of October 2023. Venue, Marriott Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos. Time, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Chief host, Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris. Host, Mr. Charles Ibwebu. Director General. Announcer, Management, NBC. Your right to quality broadcasting.
Man is a political animal. That's why we all have our views on politics. Political View comes to you at Ebona, the 103.5 FM with Martin Ifeanyi Ekizie every Monday, 3 o'clock p.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. It's all about the day-to-day activities in the Nigerian political space, views of political actors from various political parties on political process, views of labor leaders, and most importantly, your views. Views of the common Nigerian. Tune in to Ebona 103.5 FM or you join online via mixlr.com/gistfm every Monday and Saturday. What are your political views? Keep a date.
Thank God it's Friday. Friday is the most favorable day of the week. So hook up with DJ Easy every Friday by 9 p.m. on Ebona the 103.5 FM. This is a program where we bring onto you entertainment and the best of fun and also give you the privilege to make some music requests. TGIF, thank God it's Friday. Don't miss this every Friday night by 9 p.m. with DJ Easy on Ebona the 103.5 FM of the day.